değerli izleyicilerimiz. Adnan Oktar'la sohbetlere başlıyoruz inşallah.
Ona sürekli baş belası şeytanidir. Kafayı Müslümana takar.
To hold Muslims back. They are trying to keep them from the Islamic way of life. They are trying to harm Muslims, as you can see it at the moment.
Müslüman diğer topluluklara karşı gözü dönmüş bir saldırı var. Mesela bak.
They support homosexuals. The British deep state, they are now unleashing their thugs, their homosexuals, their all bad people. They unleash them on us and on other Muslim communities as well. This is an organized attack. Today there was another PKK attack on our lions. May God bless our martyrs. Yesterday, after we talked about the British deep state and Iran, the Iranian president, he replied today. He released a statement today, 17th of December. He released a statement. Last night we've talked about this, and Khamenei today, he released a statement. And on 17th of December, Ayatollah Khamenei, the leader of Iranian Republic of Islam, he said that the British Shia is the one that is inciting hatred between different Muslim groups. He is referring to the British deep state. I could show the pictures.
Bak 200 yılı aşkın süredir. Tam benim dediklerimin aynısı. İngiltere Krallığı bölgemizdeki ulusların
He says that the British has the principle of divide and rule, and now to advance their goals of dividing Muslims, they are following that principle. For more than 200 years, the British Kingdom has worked to harm the communities in our region. We've been explaining what the British deep state has been up to for the past 200 years, and after that, the whole world is now opening their eyes. They've now turned their gaze on the British deep state. So now we understand that Iran is also watching us, very kindly following us too, because my articles appear on the biggest newspapers in Iran on their cover pages. So we see one more time that how great the Iranian people are, how clean conscience they have. MashaAllah, the Iranian people pay very kind attention to my articles. They are very good people. Look, Khamenei says that for more than 200 years. This is exactly what I've been saying. He said today, on 17th of December, he said that the British Kingdom has been working to harm the communities in our region for more than 200 years. Of course, he says the British Kingdom, but it's actually the British deep state. They are not saying that. He says that the British government has worked to divide India, Pakistan, Iran, and many others, and now the British officers, in a very embarrassing manner, the British claims that Iran is a threat in the region. Yes, he's right, because this is a new trick of the British deep state. Khamenei continued. Today Muslims are killed everywhere, from Myanmar to many other places. Islamic world is facing big dangers. The only way for the Muslims to be rid of their troubles is Islamic Union. Very well done. Please give him a round of applause. Today in the region there are two opposing powers. One is the ones that are trying to bring Muslims together, which is the Mahdi supporters. He says that there are two opposing powers in the region today. One is the Dajjal movement and the other is the Mahdi movement. He says the first one is the group that is trying to bring Muslims together. In other words, the defenders of the Islamic Union. And the second power is the opposing power is Dajjal. They are trying to divide Muslims. So we have to be on the side of those that try to unite Muslims so that we can save Muslims from their ordeals. Thank God Iran has drawn attention. Iran has officially drawn attention to the British deep state. MashaAllah. Russia has said the same thing.
Tabii
Iran
burada
has never said something like this
İngiliz
before in its
hükümeti,
history.
İngiliz devleti demek yanlış.
No president
Çünkü
in
İngilizlerin devleti
Iran,
olması
no
gerekiyor.
leader in Iran in the
İngiliz
past
hükümeti bunu
200 years
kullanıyor.
of their history has
İngiliz
something
devleti bunu
like
kullanıyor.
this.
Derin devlet. Yani
Look,
decari
he's very
esasdır.
clearly referring to the British
Adnan Bey,
deep
bu sene
state.
Şubat ayında
Of
Türkiye ile İran
course,
arasında
we are not
barış için
talking about
çeşitli
the
yalan
British
haberler
government or the
çıkarıldığına
British
dair
state. We are talking
yazılar
about the British deep
yayınlanmıştı.
state.
Ve bu oyunlara iki
Because
devletin
British deep
düşmemesini
state
gerektiğini
is
anlatmaya
using the
çalışıyoruz
British
yazıda.
government,
Başlığı da
British state,
Wellington House
the deep
propagandalarına
state,
artık
the
geçiş
Jar
yok
movement. That's what we are talking
şeklinde
about.
Tehran
Mr.
Times'te
Adnan,
yayınlanmıştı.
Evet, gelebilir.
in February this
Bu sene
year,
Şubat ayında Tehran Times'ta
you wrote an
İran'da
article
Türkiye ve İran
explaining
arasında
how there
bozmak
is
için çeşitli yalan haberler
misinformation,
çıkarıldığını
how there
ve
is
bu oyunlara iki devletin de
misinformation to
düşmemesi gerektiğini anlattığınız
provoke
Wellington
the
House
people of
propagandalarına
two
artık geçit yok
countries against each
başlıklı
other, the
makalesi
people of
çıkmıştı.
Iran and people of Turkey. Read this one more time.
Bak,
You wrote
biri
an
bana
article
bastırdı,
for Tehran Times February this year, and you said that there are efforts to drive a wedge between Iran and Turkey, and that there is efforts to misinform people in two countries. Look, they tried to badmouth Iran. They tried to incite hatred against Iran yesterday, but we stopped that. We stopped that trend. We made it very clear that Iran and Turkey are friends. They are sister countries. Just like ISIS doesn't represent the Turkish Muslims or Sunni Muslims, the Shia militia doesn't represent the Iranian Muslims or the Shia. ISIS and Shia, they are both used by the British deep state. They are both working for the British deep state. That Fethullah Gülen organization, PKK, ISIS, Taliban and Al-Qaeda and others, they are all working for the British deep state, and we've proven this. For example, we showed the picture, one of those one of those bombers, he was an agent working for MI6. In another case, an officer working for the MI6, when his house was raided, he was found with around 100 suicide bomber vests. For example, that Jihadi John, so-called Jihadi John, he's actually working for the British deep state.
Yani şehit olanların sayısı. Kısa sürede yani. Bak, İngiliz Büyükelçi Kayseri'ye gitti. Döndü.
And in the recent Beşiktaş attack, very surprisingly, one British journalist, he was staying at a hotel nearby, which had the perfect view of the scene. And 2 minutes after the explosion, he sent photos. The British ambassador, he went to Kayseri, he came back, and look, there was an explosion there today. They had a meeting in Kayseri. So everything is actually very clear. Nurcu, Süleymanlı Community, Yeni Asya newspaper, they all understood now. Thank God we've started this, and this is now spreading. Everyone is joining.
Son terör eylemleriyle ilgili olarak İran'ın İngilizce devlet kanalı Press Televizyonu'na sizi temsilen telefonla bağlandı Oktar. PKK'nın komünist bir terör örgütü olduğunu, Öcalan'ın ifadesiyle İngilizlerin devleti tarafından kurulduğunu
Mr. Adnan Oktar today had a meeting on behalf of you about the recent terror attacks. He was a guest on one Iranian news channel, and he said that PKK is a communist terrorist organization and that it was founded by the British deep state. And he also said that the British deep state is trying to turn the Shia and Sunni against each other, and that we shouldn't fall into that trap. He explained all these things on behalf of you. Very good.
Zarar verecek sistemi Müslümanın bizzat kendine uyguladı.
We are not going to let these conspiracies unfold. We are not going to allow these plots. Yesterday, they used some Muslims against Iran to incite hatred against Iran, but we foiled their plot. They tried to use Muslims to do something that would also hurt Muslims. But everyone should understand. Iran and Turkey, they are friends. Iran is one of the most powerful countries in the world, and Turkey is one of the most powerful countries in the world. So if you make the two countries, two powerful countries, fight each other, they will take away each other's strength. But if you join them, they will build a huge power. So why are you falling into this trap?
Türkiye de öyle. Biz kardeşiz ve birleşeceğiz.
Those people who think that they are protesting Iran, do they know who is actually doing this? Who is actually telling them to go and protest Iran? Iran is a good Muslim country. They are sincere people. They are good Muslims, and we are brothers and sisters, and we will join forces. And Russia, we will join forces with Russia as well. Russia is an Islamic country too. There are more than 30 million Muslims living in Russia. And Putin is a very good person. Yes, he's an honest person, a sincere person. Yes, he made mistakes, but in the end of the day, he's a sincere person. British deep state is trying to take advantage of the Sunni-Shia separation.
Homoseksüeller falan el ele verdiler. İftira, hakaret, rezillik, şantaj.
Curate newspaper. They started something new. They've started a new attempt. I think they got their orders from a certain direction. British deep state has unleashed their prostitutes, their homosexuals, and they've started their attacks, plots, slanders, conspiracies. They've started trying everything. But no matter what you do, you cannot hurt, steal. So they are working in vain.
200 yıldan beri hiç kimse İngiltere'nin farkında değildi. Hiç söylenmiyordu. Biz bunu bütün gücümüzle dünyaya güçlü bir sesle
No one in the past 200 years really truly noticed what the British deep state was up to. No one was talking about it. And when we drew attention to that, when we brought it up with all our might, and when we showed this fact to the whole world, Russia, Iran, and Turkey started being more careful, being more beware of the British deep state. Iranian state has officially drawn attention to the British deep state. The top officer of the Iran has drawn attention to the British deep state. This is happening for the first time.
Geçsin. Hem şehitlik sevabı aldılar hem gazilik sevabı aldılar. Allah annelerine babalarına sabrı cemil, uzun ömür nasip etsin.
The martyrs in Kayseri, the lions in Kayseri. How many martyrs we have? 17.
Ancak kahpelikle yaklaşabiliyorlar benim gördüğüm.
May God bless our martyrs. May God accept their martyrdom. They are martyrs and ghazis.
Yani hiç şehit yok.
May God bless their families. May God bless their families and give them a beautiful patience. And congratulations to our martyrs. PKK can't really go and aren't brave enough to face our martyrs themselves. So what they do is they just plant these bombs and detonate it. Kayseri, the commandos of Kayseri, they are a celebrated group of commandos. They are very good soldiers. And of course, PKK was very angry with them because the Kayseri soldiers, they were very strong. But they should have taken precautions. They should have guessed that this could have happened. I think they are being a little bit lax, the officers. Yes, many people are doing the best they can, but we have to do more. Civilians should help the government, the officers as well. It will take more than the officers, the government agencies to handle this. The PKK, they are covering huge distances with bombs in their bags, and no one notices them, but they could be caught in between their destination and their origin. I could show the pictures of some of our martyrs.
Şehit Göksel ağaç yetiştiren.
These are the martyrs, well,
Hasan
yes.
İlhan. Şehit Kamil Tunç. Şehit Kenan Döngel. Şehit Muhammed Ali Ocak. Şehit Mustafa Cihan. Şehit Raşit Yücel. Yaralı asker Ali Kuşçu. Yaralı asker Kamil Yemez. Yaralı asker Mustafa Uçar. Yunus Emre Duran.
Şehit.
Yunus şehit mi?
Şehitimiz, evet.
Allah şehadetinizi makbul etsin. Kabadayılığınıza özeniyoruz. Şehadetinize imreniyoruz.
Maşallah.
Allah yatakça canımızı almasın. Şehadetle alsın canımızı. Ne büyük şeref, ne güzel makam. Ailenize, ananıza, babanıza güzel bir miras.
May God accept your martyrdom.
Annenizi, babanızı almaya da geleceksiniz.
We envy you.
Vefat ederlerken.
We envy your martyrdom. Inshallah, may God allow us to be martyrs as well.
Allah anneler babalarına uzun ömür versin.
Congratulations to you. You have a very good
Saldırıya uğrayan
position.
Kayseri 1. Komando Tugayı'nın daha önce Kayseri'de şehrin ortasında
You've left a
komando
very good
maaşıyla ilgili
legacy
bir
to your family.
video var Adnan Bey.
Inshallah, you will come back to take your parents, to take your family as their time comes, when their time comes. You will accompany Azrael. Inshallah, the martyrs will welcome their parents. May God bless their parents.
Ama şimdi ben Tayyip Hocam'a da söyledim, hükümete de defalarca söyledim. Legal.
I have told this to Tayyip Erdogan and also the government members many times. There should be a legal counter-guerrilla type of structure. This kind of an establishment could be just instituted within the state framework. There could be certain Turkish civilians who would take part in this counter-guerrilla force. These persons could be just equipped with automatic rifles or normal weapons. And they could also carry certain explosives. And such people, a part of the counter-guerrilla, should enter everywhere. For instance, they may just stop convoys or cars just to check and control. And they should be just allowed to have the authority to inspect certain convoys and vehicles. And if they just find anything suspicious, they could just stop cars, just asking to check their cars. Because people would not expect really for their cars, for their vehicles to be inspected by this kind of a force, a civilian force. And they should be given certain identities, and they should have a legal status and protected under the Turkish constitution. Because when there are such suspicious people just everywhere, people are just turning a blind eye to any such suspects. But these people actually, consisting of Turkish civilians, they should be given the authority to carry out inspection and interrogation. Well, for instance, to stop cars, to check and carry out this kind of an inspection for any explosives on those vehicles. Because I don't believe that these terrorists, they would be exploding themselves just for a single person. So these civilian force, when they are carrying out such surveillance on cars, they would be easily exposed. I never forgot this. There was a certain soldier who was in an internet cafe. He was writing against the PKK. He made himself known somehow, and those PKK terrorists just came to that location to shoot him. But if there were a counter-guerrilla force, many civilians, a part of the Turkish nation, if there would be any terrorists who would approach a soldier, for instance, those terrorists would easily be neutralized by that kind of a counter-guerrilla force. So such a capacity should be provided to people. The Turkish citizens, they should be given authority by being a part of such a counter-guerrilla force. And if such civilians carry out any intervention on those suspects to neutralize them, then they should not be asked to appear at court so that they will carry out their efforts at ease. They should not be revealed, their photographs should not be revealed, because those terrorists, for instance, they come to that internet cafe, they easily shoot our soldier there, then they just go turn their back and leave and easily flee. They should not be allowed to flee. I'm telling this over and over again. And President Erdogan, well, he accepted my good advice, but not in the practical means. I've been telling this for the last 3 years, asking for the mobilization of the Turkish country.
Eskiden İngilizlerin devleti bu tip oyunlarla insanları böyle avucun içinde oynatıyordu adeta. Çok kolay netice alıyordu.
In the past, the British deep state was capable of just misleading people, misinforming people, just by provoking the Saudis or provoking the Iraqis. It was so easy for them to perpetrate their evil plots by means of a few agents, because there was no internet, there was no telephone. And by means of a few lies of deception, it was so easy for them to fool the people. But in the last 150 years, they have attained this evil experience. We have Sarman here, the cat. Someone is just running after some games. Sarman, just come here.
Evet evet, onu en iyisi alıp götürün. Halıda idman mı yapıyor?
Sarman is not doing this in summertime, but maybe it's just acting like this because it's winter and the weather is cold outside. And Sarman is not pleased with some other cats just visiting his house. Iran is disturbed of this British Shia. Iran is irritated with this British Shia, which is a severe threat. They use certain arrogant homosexual Shia who have no decent character, and they try to exploit such Shia. The British is trying to use such Shia.
Yani özetle bunlar hiçbir şey yapamazlar, boş yere uğraşıyorlar. Efendim, atakları boş.
In summary, they can do nothing really. These are empty, vain efforts. They could never achieve anything.
Ama bunlar, bu kitleler de yani birkaç sözle yatışabilen kitleler.
But there are masses who are just under the influence of such provocations. But after speaking certain few words, they may calm down so easily. For instance, when we said Turks and Kurds are brothers, then people just entered into this tranquility. And yesterday they were just planning to turn the Iranians against the Turkish people or the Turkish people against the Iranians by leading masses to the Iranian embassy or with some other attempts. But when we said that Iran and Turkey are brothers, then that turned all the Satan's followers backwards, because people are open to Satan's whisperings, and people are also open to hearing the compassionate, the divine revelation from the good servants of our Lord. But when, for instance, Satan whispers through the internet, certain people listen to it. But after good advice is given by means of the internet, then people calm down. So definitely it's really very important to speak, because giving good advice, making such statements, that will have a major impact. That will make a great influence on people.